Hey guys, it's Guru Mike Pano with Bionic Warrior Martial Arts, and it's day 17 of Filipino-American History Month. And in today's episode, I want to talk about a topic that I know many of my fellow Filipino-Americans can relate to, and that's about our inability to speak Tagalog, okay? So now I know that there's many Filipinos out there in this country who do speak Tagalog, okay? I know that there's many Filipino-Americans who were probably born in the Philippines for a number of years in the early part of their life. Maybe they moved here later on in their life, so they still retain the language that way. And I know that there's probably many Filipino-Americans here who were actually born in a Filipino household, and maybe they were one of the few Filipino-Americans to actually be raised in the language, okay? But for the vast majority of Filipino-Americans, we do not speak Tagalog, okay? Many of us don't understand it, many of us don't speak it. And this episode, I'm going to talk about two reasons why that is, okay? And all of this is done in an effort to hopefully bridge the gap between Filipinos in the motherland and Filipino-Americans here in the United States. So the first reason why is because Filipinos, as a general rule, tend to be very good at adapting to their surroundings, okay? So if you take a Filipino from the Philippines and you put them in any part of the world, they'll immediately adapt to that culture right away. And part of that adaptation involves them repressing their native culture, okay? So if you put a Filipino in, say, Italy, for example, they're immediately going to do everything they can to learn Italian, to adapt to the culture, to learn the language, etc. Okay. Same goes if you are moving to the United States. So many Filipinos from the mainland, from the motherland rather, in the Philippines, they come over here and they teach themselves that they have to speak English like an American. Okay, and they pass this ideal on to their children. As a personal testimony, my parents did the same thing. They moved here from the Philippines and they discouraged my siblings from learning Tagalog. Okay, they spoke to us in English. They had us watch American TV shows, and the only time we heard Tagalog was when our elders, our parents, our aunts, uncles, whoever, were speaking Tagalog to each other. But anytime they spoke English to us, it was just like, okay, well, you guys learn English, we speak Tagalog, that's just how it is here. Okay, that's how we were brought up. So I think there's a misconception by a lot of Filipinos over in the Philippines. They think that we just are too lazy to learn our language. And the truth is that couldn't be farther from the truth. Many of us want to learn our native language, but our parents simply did not raise us to learn the language. So this would lead many Filipinos in the motherland to look at Filipino-Americans like myself and say, well, why don't you just step up and man up and learn Tagalog, man? Just go do it, you know? Well, I'll tell you, I have tried doing it, and I know many Filipino-Americans out there have tried as well. I actually took a credited Filipino language course in college at Seton Hall University, go Pirates. We actually had a credited course, but I was still discouraged from learning the language because anytime I tried to learn or practice the language with my relatives or my parents or my friends who spoke Tagalog, they would make fun of my accent. They'd make fun of the way I spoke. They'd make fun of the way I tried to enunciate the words. They make fun of my grammar, okay? If you're trying to learn something that's very difficult and someone's just making fun of you while they're trying to teach you, it's not very encouraging, okay? I kind of liken it to if I'm teaching a person who's never done martial arts before, they've never picked up a stick, they've never picked up a knife, they've never punched someone in the face, and I see them on the first day of class and they show up and they're trying to get better and all I do is make fun of them. Are they going to want to continue training? Probably not, right? So it's not very encouraging as a Filipino-American when, someone like myself trying to learn the native tongue becomes made fun of, becomes the butt of a joke simply because of the way I pronounce the words and because of the way I'm struggling to understand the language, okay, guys? So if you're a native Filipino speaker, please, if you meet a Filipino-American trying to learn the language, encourage them. Okay, try to teach them. If they're messing up in their grammar or their pronunciation or even in their enunciation of the words, try to kindly guide them. Okay, I worked in the inner city for many years. I encountered many Hispanic students straight from Guatemala and El Salvador, and they were trying to learn English. And I would never make fun of their accent or try to discourage them. I would try to encourage them and try to help them the best I could. So I think there's a big part of divide, a big reason of the divide between Filipinos in the Philippines and Filipino-Americans here. While American English is really a national language over in the Philippines. If you go to the Philippines, pretty much everyone speaks English there. The truth is that there's still this barrier between the two because of the Tagalog language. And I think it's important from both sides that we as Filipino-Americans do what we can to learn the language, to pass it on. And that the Filipinos that we are surrounded by in this country who know the language well, help us. And I think if we help each other, guys, we're going to be a much stronger community, much more tight-knit, and a much better community for it. Okay, guys? So that is it for episode 17 of Filipino-American History Month, guys. I hope to see you guys tomorrow on day 18. Take care, God bless, and remember to be the hero in your life.